It's a high-tech conversation
And a low-tech topic.
live on the World Wide Web via Zoom. Bench Talk 101.
Welcome to Bench Talk 101. Tonight, the topic is drills. So I'm sure you all know the drill. Raise your hands and the reactions if you have got something to contribute. And let's just get the bit between our teeth and get moving. So, first off, we will go to Roger Hardwick.
Evening all. This is drill related. I've got in early because I've got to go and pick my wife up later. So I don't know if you can see these.
Oh, yeah. Archimedes drills.
Yeah. But I picked them up in a box of old tools. But this one's all metal, and the other one's got wooden handles and bits there.
Yes.
But I don't know if we can see the blade, the drill bit, which is, you can see that shape.
Yeah.
It's where it goes into the collet, it's square.
Uh-huh.
That shape at the top. But I'm not quite sure I thought it might be for doing holes for pins.
It's for fretwork.
Sorry?
For fretwork. For yes.
Work.
Yes, yeah, to make a hole in your workpiece so that you can thread the thread the saw blade through.
Ah, right.
Yeah, the little metal ones were typically sold with Hobby's fretwork kits. So you get a fret saw and a couple of G cramps and a bird's mouth and one or two other things and the drill.
So can you get different types of drill for it, or is it just one shape?
Okay, well, for fretwork, you typically only need the one size, which is just big enough to thread the blade through. Yeah.
Right. Okay.
It works really well to just hammer a nail.
Yeah. Can you get? I've got two, but the drill for this one is broken, so I've just got
it
one.
It works really well. It works really well just to hammer a nail in the right shape.
Yeah. I did try, and if you go too far in a bit of wood though, when you pull it out, it just pulls out the collet.
Yes, yeah. Again, for fretwork, it doesn't really matter because you're probably not using any wood any thicker than say an eighth or 3/16 the maximum.
Yeah. Okay.
When you go to put, I've used those a lot because I've used it for when you're putting, when you're pinning stuff on, when you're repairing antique furniture.
Yeah.
Quite often when you've got the banding around the outside, I often use that to create the hole to put the nail in, because sometimes you can do it and it will just split. But when you want to take them out, you just carry on drilling, but pull the other way.
Pull the other way, yeah. Okay. Can you get spare bits for it?
I've never had to get new ones for it because I've never broken one, but I've got 3 different sizes for one of mine. And like Richard said, it came from something I was given when I was about, I think I must have been about 8, 10, something like that, which was a hobby set it came with a fret saw and and clamps and everything. And I've still got it and I still use it, but it's not for what probably it was originally intended.
But
Anton is right. I have, when I've been caught without it because I've been in somewhere else, all you do is get a pair of snips, snip the head off a brad nail or a very small nail, and that works just as well with it in a normal gut buster type drill.
All right. Yeah, that might be an idea to try that. Okay. Thank you.
Roger, if you want to know, you first got a square shape.
Yeah. Yeah, mine's got square shape. I tried an ordinary round drill in it and it just pulled out.
Yeah.
It's yours if you want it.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, we do.
Okay, thank you very much, Roger.
Thank you.
And next we will go to Matthias.
Righty-ho. So, think I have on occasion shown most of these before. Drill bits, I have a few, but not too few to mention. So let's start big. This beauty. 18-inch long, 1-inch diameter wood owl auger bit.
Ooh.
These are absolutely the bee's knees for drilling big holes and massive stuff. So, I mean, you can see its work over there in the leg of the that was actually with its smaller brother, the 1-inch, 6-inch long wood owl, which I also have. But for the when I was drilling the holdfast holes through the top of the workbench, this one was really what was needed. They cut fast and very effectively and very cleanly.
Yeah, they've got 3 edges, don't they?
They do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the lead screws, so they are you when you're using them with you can't use them in a drill press, but you can use them with a power drill.
Can you use them with a brace?
Yes, you can. So the I mean, this one, yeah, I dare say you could. The top of the shaft is octagonal, so most braces will hold on to that. I mean, obviously you don't have the nice square
octagonal,
a tapered end that really fits in a traditional brace. But yes, it will work in a brace. Absolutely, I've used them.
I've got a feeling you can get a tapered end with a hex slot.
Yes, you can. You can indeed. I do forget if the one I have up here is that one. I have a copy. Yes. This is, I believe, yes. So it should. Yep, there we go.
Fabulous.
Yep.
So how do you turn that? Because I've got the shorter, the 6-inch length of that.
Yeah.
And I'm putting in some dog holes in my bench top, which is laminated maple type stuff.
Yeah.
Man, my braces would not turn that.
Okay. I don't know exactly. I mean, I have used it with a brace in various test pieces. I did not the workbench I did with a powered drill, and not with any old power drill, but with a hammer drill. Obviously, with the hammer effect turned off, but a big, massive one. So that is. But I have used them in a brace in various test pieces, and I mean I've gone through at least 1.5 inches of hard maple, and I didn't find it a problem. But I don't know if maybe I was lucky. I don't know. As I said, I haven't really tried that for real in anger because I haven't had to.
The simple solution is get a bigger brace. If you get like a 14 or a 6-inch brace, you'll find turning large bits an awful lot easier.
Yeah.
Right. It's the swing rate. So you get one that has a greater swing, so it gives you greater strength.
Yeah.
Or get yourself a T-handle that accepts the auger bit fitting, and you use the T-handle to give yourself strength. It's just not fast. It's just not a fast cutting.
Yeah.
And here are the baby brothers, various sizes of the 6-inch.
Oh, very nice.
Yes.
Yeah. They are not.
They don't give them away with a packet of cornflakes. So I mean, this was I did not buy all of these at once, and it has been a bit of an investment, but it's not an investment that I'm ever going to regret. So and at the rate I'm using them, they're going to last me my lifetime, and they're probably still going to be good for someone else to take over at that point in time. Anyway,
have you sharpened them?
No, I haven't had to yet.
Right.
So for
they're very strong.
Yeah. So most of my regular drilling, I do either with well, if the situation fits, with forceness, I pretty much, except when I can't get them in those sizes or lengths, I try to go for the fish ones. I'm sure there are other equally good, but these are really as good as a modern Forstner bit gets. The fish wave cutters, they are absolutely gorgeous. They cut fast and clean, and yeah, they're really the bee's knees. I have them. So I started with a set of, what is it, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, and 50 millimeter. And then I've added on to that, I have one very large one, the 68 millimeter. That's a Forstner and a half.
They're using a drill press, right?
Yes, this one I've been only ever in a drill press. And then a whole collection of other sizes, both in metric and imperial, from 8 millimeters up to I think the largest one in this one is 38 millimeters. And there are various. I buy a couple at a time when I need them. I mean, I'm still ogling a complete set of these in imperial, and one day I will have it, but I haven't needed them really yet, and they are ruddy expensive, so I'm buying them as I go. Then there's that, or there's brad point drills, and there I mostly use the Farmags. This is a really nice set in 0.5 millimeter increments from 1 millimeter up to 13. I also have the 14, 15, and 16. And they are, again, pretty pricey, but bloody hell, they're good. And talking of pricey brad points, I recently, after Megan Fitzpatrick had written about them, sent off to Lee Valley for their set of imperial brad points from starting at, what is it? Starting at 5/64 and going all the way up to 1/2 inch. It was not a cheap exercise, but I haven't really. This was really a buy once, cry once kind of exercise, and I've already used them quite a lot. There's also, when we're talking about those kind of drill bits, there are another German brand, Löhr, which are regular twist drills, again from 1 millimeter up to 13 in 0.5 millimeter increments. I don't think I'm going to get those in imperial anytime soon, because I can't really see any need for it. I also have this little roll from Workshop Heaven with the Star MF types in various sizes. Very nice drills for getting very clean exit holes without a backing. Nice cutting, fast cutting. I don't use them that much, but they do come in very handy from time to others. So again, I'm glad I bought them. And at the rate I'm using them, I'm not going to wear them out anytime soon. So again, it was a case of buy once, cry once. what else? I mean, I do have a few more odd things. I did buy an egg beater a while back, and that came with the detachable handle knob and a set of traditional drill bits for that kind of drill. I've used them a bit. They're nice and sharp, and they do the job. So, and they are with the egg beater. It goes surprisingly quick once you're going down.
Is that a double geared system?
Yes. So it's a fairly late.
It's German.
It's a Miller's Force 201, fairly late vintage, probably 1970s, something like that, 60s or 70s. It's a wooden handle, but it's not rosewood. It's some kind of cheapo wood that has been stained to look rosewoodish. And it's late enough that the knob is plastic, not wood.
Oh.
But the drill itself is nice, and that screw needs tightening. But otherwise, it's nice and does what it says on the box just as good as a prettier one from 40 years earlier.
Yeah, I've got one of the early ones. It has 2 speeds, and
right.
it has you can adjust it so it will cut in one direction, and then you can back up. So if you're in tight spaces,
yeah,
you can drill in like if you got like 180-degree arc, you can swing.
Yeah,
I think it's model 1930. But
all right,
from that time period, it's really Miller Paws are great drill bit.
Yeah. Then just in front of me, which you can't see, but I'll get one out, I have 10 of these small drawers with, I have to be careful so I don't tip them out, twist drill.
That's your model making stuff, right?
That's for model making, exactly. So this is 0.3, 0.4, and 0.5 millimeters. And I have them in increments of 1/10 of a millimeter all the way up to 3.2. And fairly large bundles of everything. But that is indeed for model making. And they are not, these, let's just say, these were not made by fish. They are perfectly all right for the price I paid for them. They were quite inexpensive, and for shall we say normal work in using a pin vise or in the Dremel, they're perfectly fine. But obviously they are not. Well, yeah, they do the job within the limitation of the price I paid for them. Let's put it that way. So I think that covers most of it. I mean, there are more drill bits here, there, and everywhere, but those are sort of my staples, the ones I use the most.
Okay, thank you, Matthias. Anybody got any questions for Matthias? Nope.
I would concur with his about the fish wave cutter bits. They are really nice.
Yeah. Oh yeah. One more thing while we're talking about fish. I also bought one of their plug cutters, and they are equally nice. They make very good plug cutters. Cuts very cleanly. Also, definitely worth the money. I mean, it looks like any old plug cutter, but it's sharp, it's precise, it does what it says on the tube.
Yeah. Yep, I've caught a pike on the plug before, but that's a different thing.
Mm-hmm. Anyway, that's me.
Thank you, Matthias. Okay, next we will go to Filver Shape.
Right. Bear with me while I try some of this technical stuff. Let's have a look. I have 1 or 2 curiosities to show.
I'm not sure I want to see those curiosities.
Hang on, just bear while I get ready. Right. First thing is, I have a series of 3 that came from what went as a grandfather to me, who was a cabinet maker of these, which I've always found very useful. Whole series of these that was in. They probably date back to, well, long before the war, if not before that.
Yeah, Phil, we can't actually see the bit itself.
Right. Okay.
I can see a bit of the box.
Right. Let's have a look. Bit out.
Yeah,
There you
now
are.
I can see it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, is that a Jennings?
Haven't got a clue. Haven't looked for a name on them ever. I just get them out and use them when I want to use them.
Could be made by anyone, but the type is depending on which continent you're on, is either Cook or Gauge.
Yeah. The set of 3 here. Come on, go back in the box. Right. Take that one out of the way. Now there's this one here, which I picked up, which is again for use with a brace, in a box with a label and everything. And I think the box says, for those of us that are into it, it says Ridgeway.
Ah, record Ridgeway. Alfred Ridgeway it'll be. So the expansive bit.
In there, it's expensive bit. I've got several of those that I've acquired over the years in the I don't say that I use them very well. There's another one just here.
Yep.
I don't say that I ever use them very much, maybe use them once or twice over the years. Next one is this curiosity.
Ah. I think that's a washer cutter, is it?
I think it's a tank cutter.
A what?
I think it's a tank cutter.
Yeah.
Making holes in galvanized water tanks that you put up in the loft.
All right, okay. It was just in a load of stuff that I acquired at some point. And,
they worked on wood too.
Yeah. So that's that curiosity. Now, also over the years, I've got all sorts of. I've got probably hundreds of bits of pieces, but these are perhaps. Where is it? Let's get it on
we've lost you down a bit.
There.
Ah, yes. So that is a countersink.
Well, not.
It's for metal.
Yeah, it's for metal. That's not a countersink.
Is it not?
No,
drilling holes in metal.
It's for metal. Yeah. Yes. Yeah. I mean, it's hard work, but it will make a hole in metal. Yeah.
Yeah, I've probably got a dozen of those kicking about over the time, and then there's another curiosity. If I can find
surely countersink for metal.
The countersinks usually don't have the slight twist to the tip. There are countersinks that look like that, but they
yeah,
the kind of the curved twist in the tip.
I have several of both.
Gives it away.
Ah, I didn't know the twist bit.
That's a shell bit.
Yeah. I've got a whole load of those. They're all in various conditions. I don't very rarely ever use them. So that's that one. And the last thing I've got is a reamer, which again came from what went to be my grandfather. Is this one here? Can you see it?
Yes.
That's a belter.
Sadly, when I was away at college, has the camera gone again?
Yeah.
Right. Sadly, when I was away at college, my mum, who was a keen gardener, managed to get hold of this somehow. And when I next found it, it was about 2 or 3 years later, and it was stuck in the garden, and she'd obviously been using it to make holes. And I'm afraid it's gone past it now. I think it's to the point where I'll never be able to recover it because it was just so badly abused.
You might be,
which
surprised.
is sad. Hmm?
You might be surprised because the cutting portion is the 2 edges.
Yeah.
You only need a very slight bevel on, even like, and if you only turn it one way, only on one side. And it doesn't have to be dead straight or anything. It's not like a plain blade. If you scrub a bit of rust off the edge, you might get it going. You'd be surprised.
Then
But when you
work
run
on
your
the
fingers
inside.
down, it's obviously rusted quite badly.
Yeah, but cut on the inside.
That'll do serrated edge cut.
When you sharpen it on the inside. Do not touch the outside.
Yeah. But it's on that list of things to restore, like all of us have got, who collect these old ones that there are there, that we've got ones tucked away, that I'll restore that one day.
I'd give it really good odds that you could get that working, at least to some extent.
Yep.
I'll have to refile the screw on the bottom. But anyway,
the other way to do that would be just use a different drill to do your main screw, because that's primarily a tapering. It cuts a taper hole, so like a barrel bung, so that it'll accept the cork.
So what you're saying is drill the hole first and just run that down as the reamer down the hole.
You got it.
All right.
But still file the screw, but it's not as important. The key of that tool is it had everything necessary to cut the hole and then taper the sides as you were cutting it. But you don't necessarily, if you got a shop and you got multiple tools, use a different drill to do your pilot hole, and then just make sure that the edge is cut from the inside, so you don't mess with the radius of the outer radius of the tool.
Yeah, I've got some Veritas things for doing chairs and chair. When you're doing the holes in the seats of chairs and that sort of stuff as well. I've also, you name it, in terms of twist drill bits and brad point bits, and I've got hundreds of it. But I just thought I'd show one or two of the curiosities tonight.
Okay, thank you very much, Phil. Okay, moving on. And next we will go to Richard.
So what I have here is it's a hole saw, and these are intended to be used with power drills. But if you use one of these with a handheld power drill, they're kind of dangerous, because if you don't keep them perfectly straight, they'll lock up suddenly, and I think it's quite a good way to break your wrist. It's dangerous, I think. But what you can do is get one of these. Put it in the brace.
Yay! Braces rule.
And it works. It obviously it takes a bit longer than using a power drill, but it works fine, and it's safe. And this is one I did earlier.
Excellent.
Yeah, the key is getting a good sweep, something like a 14 to 17 inch sweep on the brace. So
yeah, that would help. Yeah,
you need a large.
Yeah, well, I don't know what this one is. It's a.
But
it's a 10-inch, and as you see, I managed to make a 3-inch hole in it without too much difficulty. But yeah, certainly a bigger sweep would help. But yeah, so that's it. And as a bonus, you get wheels you can use for making toys.
Yep.
Excellent.
It works in pine. Yeah, when you start going into hickory or oak, it gets a little more tough.
Oh yes, it does. Yes, but it's possible. It's possible. It's a good workout, I suppose.
Yep. Yeah, drill press is the best for them.
The drill press is the best, but sometimes, particularly if you're doing a bit of kitchen fitting and you want to make a hole for the waste pipe, you can't take it to the to the drill press.
That's true.
I do quite all right with my key to drill.
Have you not had it lock up suddenly and hurt your hand?
No, because I'm expecting it. You get the feel for it.
Yes, I guess so. Yeah.
It's generally when you're drifting off of vertical.
And for those of us old enough, it's just like starting an engine with a crank handle. You just make sure your thumb's not round it.
Yeah.
That'd be you then, Phil.
Well, unless you got a heavy duty drill, electric drill. I've got one. It's the industrial grade that only goes around 400 or 500 RPM, and it's geared for it.
So it's got a high torque but lower speed.
Correct.
And is that all you've got for us today, Richard?
Yes, yeah, that's all I've got for you today.
Okay, thank you very much. And moving on to Andy Tuckwell.
Right. I suppose one of the things that appeals to people like us about drill bits is the lovely boxes they come in. And Matthias has shown us one of each of quite a few of them, so I won't repeat myself there. And I mean, you've probably all got things like a box of Irwin bits with its got 3 stages of little ones at the top and middle ones in the middle and big ones at the bottom. I was looking this morning at a catalogue from Nurse and Company in London, 1920, and they were still selling this exact pattern of set of Irwin built drill bits with its label at the top, proudly proclaiming their patent from 1896. So the design kept them going for a while, and it proves that people do like having a nice box.
Are they a coarse thread or a fine thread?
Those are called, I think. No, they must be fine. They're slightly mixed set, but you don't often see the same sort of love and attention on the humble centre bit, which I think is a very underrated style of drill bit.
Oh yeah.
And a while ago, I saw a set on eBay that was tempting enough for me, already quite well set up for a selection of drill bits to buy. And I liked them enough to make a box to put them in. And the box itself is wood from an old piano, which I thought was fairly appropriate. It's a mahogany lid, mahogany sides, with a sort of Victorian style moulding around. And I mean, you can't date these very accurately, really, because the same pattern carried on being made for so long. But what's nice about these is that they are a set, and they're all from the same Sheffield dealer, George Palmerston Preston. And I think
wonderful work, Andy.
The eBay seller has got somebody like me in mind, because I can't show you on this camera in this light, I'm afraid. They've all got a trademark that Preston used. And he got hold of the Preston family entry for the 1911 census. And in 1911, the householder had to fill in the form himself and sign it. What you get at the bottom of George Preston's census form is exactly the same signature that he used as his trademark. So it was clearly a genuine sort of signature trademark, probably quite a reasonably good tool dealer to deal with. And that style of bit certainly carried on through till about the 1940s, I think, from the 1840s or so on. And they still work, and that's a set from 1/4 inch up to 1.5 inches. Very practical to use. Thoroughly recommend them.
But they're really fun with the way in which the shavings come up.
Say that again?
The way the shavings expel.
Yeah.
is quite fun
Yeah.
compared to.
Yeah, and you can see the logic of it. You've got the bit that scrapes and the sort of rotary chisel that lifts the shaving away. But and it's a thing that could obviously be made by a skilled blacksmith. You don't need to set up a whole huge factory with loads of equipment to make them. You've got an anvil, a hammer, a file,
you can see the start of the Jennings bit from the center bit. The center bit is, if you continue with the front end of the center bit and just extend the shaft out and then twist the shaft, you basically have the Jennings bit.
It's quite a stretch, isn't it? So it's a lot more.
Well, that's how
jigs and machinery and strength behind the Jennings bits. There's a tremendous YouTube video, or else if it's not YouTube, it might be on Ken Hawley's, with the footprint plant in Sheffield, which was the last Sheffield firm making traditional twisted auger bits, and shows you the numerous stages that you had to go through to get the thing the right shape and twisted, but be straight end to end. And you can see why they weren't economic to make by the end. So it doesn't matter. Buy up the old ones, plenty of them. That's me.
Thank you very much, Andy.
I did notice that you very appropriately used a piano hinge on that box.
Yes, I saw that too.
Well, it was the only bit of old hinge I had. It didn't go nice with the piano wood. And it's probably the same screws, but I took out the hinge. They've gone back in. So yeah, it goes round. Right.
Thank you very much, Andy. And next we will go to Anton.
Hi guys. Following up to Andy, I was also wanting to mention centipedes because I really like them and use them a lot, because I find you can't go very deep with them, but they cut very, very clean holes. So I love those. And since Andy mentioned footprint tools, just reminded me that I got a few new old stock from Footprint sent by themselves, because in a contest I won a saw by them they made, and there's a fun bit. I still kept them packaged because they are old stock. But that's kind of in between of the center bits on the way to auger bits. They call
it was in the catalogues as the improved center bit.
They call it fast cutting center bit. Yeah. It also has a lead screw. I suppose it will work a little bit like a Forstner maybe. So that's this, and then I want to break a lance for often overlooked bits. Are they bits? I don't know if they're drills at least. The humble gimlet, which I use a lot because they are just always at hand, and they are great for starting screws, but also very, very good for starting nails if you do clench nails for doors or stuff like this. So I love those. Also the old ones. They come in all size and fashions, and
yeah. I've never seen them with a metal top piece, because that was most gimlets which we come across have got a wood T-bar at the top.
Those are just new ones I got a few years ago from my hardware store. They are still, you get them in every hardware store here. They're still very much in use in Austria, I think.
Yeah, you can still get them in the US.
Yeah. And especially the small ones are great for this is for a 2.5 millimeter screw. It's great for starting brass screws, and they are they are tapered, so they work better in my opinion than breadpoint bits, which are straight for starting, especially brass screws.
Oh, really?
But for brass screws, I tend to make a hole and use a steel screw. So I've got everything cut, and then I tend to put the brass screws in.
I tend to use one of those, then use a steel screw for threading, and then put the brass screws in. But sometimes it's hard to get fitting steel screws for brass screws. So I find they sometimes have a little different, what do you call it, pitch or
yeah.
So that was my part about drill bits. Are we also talking drills? Since we started with drills, then I could show a few things more.
Sure.
We've got time.
Yeah, since we started with Archimedean drills, I have a little thing for those. So that's the one that came with my thread socket. Just to follow up on the first.
Snap.
Yeah, it's awful. It's rusty, but it still works. Then there's the next size if you want. That's this one, which is quite a nice.
Oh, that's nice.
Oh, lovely.
Nice concept, I think. This one is great because you put in the bit in the very back here. It's for very small and for tiny bits and long bits and the let's call it ferrule part in the front protects the bit, so it only protrudes maybe this much, but it helps a little bit to keep them from breaking. And then I have got a metal working Archimedean.
Oh wow!
Which works brilliantly on smaller metal work, and it's just the flywheel on it. It's just a monster.
Yeah.
That ratchet, so it only turns one way.
Yeah, I don't know if it works this way. It keeps turning. Yeah. It's a little bit stuck, but it only
goes clockwise.
Yeah. It's a brilliant piece of engineering.
Yeah.
If you look at the heads, it's just so brilliantly done. I have no idea how old it is. I found it by accident in a you would call it a car boot sale, but it's more, yeah, it was a flea market, and it was in very sorry condition in the bottom of a box. Then just a very, very old Austrian egg beater.
Oh wow!
Where I can see how it works. It's just maybe the base concept of the egg beater.
That's fabulous.
What I like about this one is this is my only drill taking flat bits.
Oh.
So that's what I mainly use for it. If the bits have the the flat shank.
Yeah.
And that's my only drill who takes those. It works brilliantly. It's so simple and sturdy, and the last one is a modern one I use a lot because it's like a machine, and in Austria it's actually called a drill machine.
Yes.
And I've got a Phillips screw head in it now because that's what I use it a lot for. But I also use it for modern breadpoint bits because it has already got the 3-bracket chuck. And it's great because it has 2 gears, so you can take the handle and put it on there, and it will turn slower. I think it's not very old. I think it's from the 50s or something. They are quite popular here, so many workshops, even modern ones, still have them in because they really the speed is almost like with the electric drill. That's it from me.
Okay. Anybody got any questions for Anton?
I would comment on those Archimedes screws when you're doing fine work and you want to do a very precise depth. Because they're so slow and you're doing it by hand, I just find them just nothing else can touch them in terms of accuracy.
But this one builds up quite the speed. You have to be careful not to burn the drill bits on metal actually. So This one is more for speed work.
Lovely.
It's glorious, though.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you very much, Anton.
Just a quick addition to before I got. I just did this hole. It's a 1-inch hole through 3 inches of hard maple with a brace and a wood dowel, and I had to use the ratchet once I got about halfway through, but it works perfectly fine.
I've had the ratchet in mine, which was the one I got from it's a modern brace from Lee Valley.
Yeah.
And the ratchet kind of stopped ratcheting.
Oh yeah.
And
then I can see how it would be a pretty tough job.
Yeah. But anyway. I'm gonna see if I can get one of those things Steve said is a T for the hard work, because they make beautiful holes.
Oh yes, they do, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, this took me a couple of minutes.
Yeah, that'd take you a few minutes.
That's beautiful. Wow.
So, but perfectly doable. Anyway, sorry, I just wanted to add that to the previous discussion.
No problem.
Thank you.
Okay, and since you're already speaking well, and we know that your microphone's working, we'll go to you next.
I'm sorry about that. Okay, so I'm going to see if I can flip my camera around. I knew how to do that. There we go. I just had to find a button.
Yeah.
All right. A while ago, and I think I've shown this, I got a box of this stuff. Okay, and like it was just actually this is two collections of assorted brace bits. So I've been working through it. I've got some questions, but first of all, I thought I'd show you when it comes to brace bits, I thought I'd show you my pride and joy. I've already seen one, and there's the label there. That's sweet. And I'll tell you one thing. Only one of these bits was used when I got it.
Wow.
The rest are new, and I've only used them a few times. In fact, to finish that hole we were talking about in the maple, I actually used the one from this kit to finish off the hole because the wood owl was jamming up on me. So I got the hole done. All right, so I'm just going to put that aside. Whoops. I'm going to put it aside carefully. Down for a sec. 2 hands. The Gimbits, the French Gimbits, they're actually quite cheap. And I got this one from Lee Valley. They come in a set of 7 or 8. I can't remember. It's like $20 Canadian or less, and I used it to get it up above the free shipping of another order. So I usually have a few things in my inbox for that. Okay, so that's that stuff. I'm not sure I've showed you this.
Nice.
Very nice.
Now I've done a little bit of work on this, mainly because these brass points were as sharp as knives. There's one left over. Where is it? There was one left that was deadly. It's probably on the other side here. Yeah, there. This one here is still above the wood surface enough to be deadly. Okay, I exaggerate. Bloody. Not deadly, but. And so I like that. And it came with this bit that wasn't coming out. The guy said he could never get it out. Well, it's one of the ones that, as you can see on this thing, it has that button release.
Yeah, it's not made for that price.
Yeah, that's right. It was jammed in there pretty good. but a little bit of patience and I got it out. I didn't even have to use WD-30 or any 40 or any of those releases. But it does have, I do have these that fit in there. And the one that is in it. And we were talking about a bit like this earlier, and somebody said this was putting holes in metal.
They're really slow. They were, surpassed quite easily. But yeah, they are metal.
Is that sharp?
If you get one that's that shape, but it doesn't have that sort of a twist to it up top, then it's not for metal. It's just a countersink. But you can see that oval cut through the tip almost. That means it was actually designed for drilling. They're terrible.
Metal.
As soon as anything better comes along, they quickly passed into obscurity. But they are metal drills.
Okay, because they were all sharp. Okay. This is a curiosity to me because it's just 4 sides tapered, and I have no idea what this is.
The reamer.
Reamer.
Yeah,
for making holes a little bit bigger.
Right of it. It's a reamer.
If your hinge has got tiny little holes in and your screws are just a little bit too fat to go through, you wanted to make the holes a little tiny bit bigger, you could poke that through and give it a twist, and hey presto, it's done.
Or if you want a tapered hole, you get a tapered hole by drilling a small hole and then enlarging it with the reamer.
Yeah.
Okay, so is this should this be sharp? Does this need work?
It'll work better
Sharp,
if it is.
Yeah.
They don't
sharp at 90 degrees.
Yeah, I get
if you rubbed it all on an oil stone.
But what you've got next to that are better reamers.
These are the question.
Yeah, those are reamers as well.
Yep.
Yeah, I got those are reamers, and I was been playing around with them, and I have a particular task that I wanted to do, and I wanted to use something like this, but of a smaller diameter, something that goes down to about an 1/8, like quarter inch hole to an 1/8, and I couldn't find anything. And are these all history, or does somebody still make them, or do I just have to? Do they go down that smaller than the ones here?
No one makes anything. Well, a few people make modern brace bits, but hardly anything other than Jennings pattern bits. They're not hard to find. There's another style of reamer that do you remember the bung hole reamer with the T handle we saw earlier?
Yeah.
That style is pretty common. They come in all shapes and sizes, but they're very hard to find, not because they're not common, but because no one knows what to call them. So
and you have one there. He has that tapered
the one you put there
to the left.
Yeah, that.
I mean,
that's a reamer.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
put it on the inside.
That style comes in all shapes and sizes.
Yeah.
The best way to find them is to search eBay for auger roll and look for rolls of all auger bits, and you will find loads of them in the middle of Jennings style bits in rolls of all different shapes and sizes.
That's right.
Okay.
And if the bit doesn't want to stay in, there's a reason for that, because you got right there on that one countersink, you can see the groove.
Yeah.
In the back. No. Next one.
This one.
Yes. That is
here.
designed to go into a specific drill bit or brace. And that is, if that works in your existing brace, you'll snap when you put it in without in the spring lock part. That's designed to hold the bit in, and then when you pull it out, the bit stays in the brace. Otherwise,
a little catch
slide out like the ones, because it just means that the ones that don't have it means it was never tuned to a specific person's brace. Because depending upon the maker of the brace, that the press button, the locking point where the tooth comes down inside is a different
Yeah.
distance. But there's a reason why there's 4 sides to that, because you can make them, set them up for 4 different braces. If you've got 4 different braces for that have a different depth. And the reason for that is there are shops where you're doing multiple different holes, but you need them like a transition. And so you need like brace A for this, brace B, and each one of them has its different bit in it. So that's the reason for the notch.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, I get that because once I figured out this is the only brace I have that has that button, right?
Yeah, there are metal ones that I have that I go
Yeah.
from 10 to 17-inch sweeps, and they are slightly different, but they don't require a button to hold it in place. It's a big screw, and you screw down the bit, and the bit stays in the brace, so you don't have to worry about it slipping out at the end.
Yeah, I think Matheson did one with a swell in the center.
Well, I'm not sure exactly what you're trying to make, but if you're looking to go with a 1/4 inch tapered hole, you can get completely tapered drill bits like this one. This is a 6mm bit, and it's tapered all the way along. So I don't know how much of a taper you need. If
I've
that's
got one of those, and I used it, and it's sort of working. I just wanted the least taper, but a little bit of taper. That's kind of where I was going.
you're gonna have a very hard time beating that then.
Yeah.
What you can get is the tapered bits that are used for peg holes in musical instruments like violins. That's quite a shallow taper.
Yeah, I've got a couple of those two modern ones, not shown here, and they were a little more extreme than I wanted. The best result I've had is exactly what I think it was Sean that said, the tapered drill bits. I got a couple of those from Lee Valley, so I've used it only on a mock-up, but I haven't going to be using it. I've got to work on the male part once I get the female part working.
Now, there's an area that you should think about, because the Japanese have a tapered bit. Now, it may not necessarily fit into the old style brace. However, you can get the attachments that will marry the two. But the thing is, it's designed for tapered wooden nails. And I've got a full set of those. I'm trying to remember where I got them, but it could have been Woodcraft Supply or Japanese Woodworker when
Okay.
the nails are wooden nails, and they're tapered. So
I've heard about that, but that wasn't the application.
That's what the bit I showed actually is. It's one of the Japanese ones.
Yeah, it's brilliant. I mean, for people who want to just go no metal whatsoever, and you want a fastener, that's how you do it.
Okay.
I bought them for pilot holes for cut nails and Roman nails. They're perfect for the job.
Okay.
Yeah, it would be. And yeah, that's right. The key is when you're drilling for cut nails, it's the thickness of the nail stock that determines the bit size for the pilot hole drill.
Yeah, especially the square size. Yeah, got that. Hey, thank you. Because I've got one of those projects on the works too, but I'll be showing that once I get it done.
Look forward to it, Will.
I retired recently, and up until my retirement, it's actually 3 years ago now. I had been stashing project ideas and the hardwares for that. Now it's time for me to make good and make the damn projects. I was told that. So, anyways, thanks very much, guys.
Thank you very much, Will. Anybody got any further questions for Will?
More of a lifestyle comment. Well, I've been retired nearly about 2 years, and I keep thinking of more things than I had time to do. So I didn't need to stash anything before.
Yeah, I kind of got that thing. I got to find the right number of right people to give some of my unfinished kits. Here's one of the ones that's on the short list.
Oh, yep, got one of those.
Nice.
Now the guy Bill, the guy that makes these castings, off topic but a good story. Okay, guys, I ordered one and I got one from Bill. I can't remember his name. His last name starts with M, or Will, sorry. And he's down in the States. And I sent him an email back and I said, I'm really having a hard time figuring how to make this work. And I says, well, frankly, I'm not happy with the casting. He says, well, send it back. And I'll have a look at it. And he got it back and he said, you know what? I think I lost this one and got mixed up because this was one of the ones I wanted to remelt.
Oh, okay.
And he sent me two back instead.
Oh,
wow.
Yeah.
Now that's customer service.
Yeah, especially when it's international shipping. These things are not light. So that's one of the ones I'm working on right now.
There's a trick to putting those together, and there's an instruction set as to how you mount those. So call him up or go onto his website.
I've got the stuff. I've got his stuff.
Okay.
Yeah, it's good work. Yeah. And so I'm just kind of trying to figure out what kind of woods to use right now. I've got Bobinga as the option for the insert and the handle. I've got some African rosewood, black rosewood, or what do they call blackwood?
Yeah, what I would suggest strongly is hickory. A properly grained hickory, because when the weight of that hits, you don't want as much of the shock going into your wrist as you would, and hickory will help absorb that shock. You go with any of the exotic hardwoods, there's not a lot of give there, and you'll get most of the shock traveling to your wrist. Just
okay. I'm probably going to go back because I was a little bit hesitant about that. What are my choices? But the hickory is something I'll figure it out because I hear what you say and that these are going to be users.
Yeah, because that's what hickory was all about. Hickory is the only wood that had the greatest flex. Then it goes white oak, and then it goes ash.
Yeah, I was going to say ash is also.
Ash is good, but it's not as good as hickory.
I'll see what I can find in hickory. Thanks, Steve.
I think, we're off topic now, so I'm going to rail it in, and we're going to move on to Sean O'Donnell.
Okay, this is me, and I have an addiction to drill bits.
No, really?
Sean O'Donnell, the drill bit king.
With the discussion of how best to deal with large drill bits, I'm going to take a very quick detour and say these are the king. If you need to turn a really large drill bit, this is called a wimble brace. It's no good for drilling straight. You want to start your hole with something else and get a little bit of depth, but you can push and pull at the same time. So, unlike with, as Mateus mentioned, using the ratchet so you could really get into it, you're not going to need the ratchet really, because the arm that is pushing can be pulling and vice versa. It looks kind of crazy, it's impossible to keep it very steady. So you want to get an inch or two down with something else before you do it. But Wimble, Whimble. If you are in the habit of trying to use very large bits by hand, track these down, one of these down.
You can still, they're new. I mean,
can you buy a new? And then I've collected quite a few bits in the last. Inside this wonderful little holder, Andy surprised me at Carlton's group last year. If I need a deep 3/4 inch hole, I am set. And this thing is sharp, and I've used it. It doesn't leave the neatest entry wound in the world, but dear God, it goes fast. It's a great bit. So thank you very much for this, Andy. This is just fantastic. And it's who was it again? I know it was a New York firm.
I've forgotten. I gave you a bit of paper with it on.
You did, and I don't know where I've put it's in here somewhere, but I don't know where I've put the piece of paper. The mark is on it somewhere, but I'm not making it out in this light. I remember it was a New York firm that made it, and that's about as much as I can remember.
I've forgotten.
Absolutely savage. And I believe Andy used it to make the holder.
I did, yes.
You can get good and deep with it, as you can see.
And it didn't take very long to
yeah, it is really aggressive. It's fantastic.
drill that down.
Thank you very much, Andy. That's a pride and joy of mine.
It's nice to see it appreciated. So you're very welcome.
Appreciate it. I'm a drill bit junkie. I can't help it. Then we were talking about center bits. I was lucky enough to spot this little collection last year, which has some odd details. There's this guy.
Oh.
Oh. I've read time and time again that this was actually, somewhat common on large center bits, but this was the first time I actually ever found one. It's got multiple, what would be the equivalent of a wing on a modern auger to break the circle up in multiple places and make it easier for the cutter to lift the chips away. So seeing them at 1 or 2 extra is not that weird, so I've been told, but this is the only one I ever actually managed to get in the flesh.
Does it work? Because it
they work.
Good feature.
I can't really tell the difference, to be honest. It's probably why I don't see it. And then you have what I believe to be a center bit style washer cutter.
Whoa. Wacky.
Ooh. Which is kind of weird. And it's like, it looks
like a tin can opener.
But it's made by Buck. It's got like a proper maker's mark on the side, which is kind of odd.
It's like a harpoon.
And then the last one of these, which is really weird, and you can probably spot it, but not easily. What the hell is this one made out of? That's not dark metal. It's like bronze or brass or something.
Is it beryllium?
It could be a straw finish.
Could it?
If you look in old catalogues, you'll often see the bits offered as black, bright, or straw. And I think straw was actually tempered to a higher temperature, or hardened to a higher temperature.
Maybe that's it then.
It does. I've got a couple that have that sort of slightly golden tinge to them.
This is the only bit I have.
And that would have been a penny more than the.
Because I've got hundreds of auger bits, but this is the only one that we're seeing with that kind of strange color to it.
Not many people would have thumped up the extra. I don't think many.
Stick to it.
Andy, you go.
A magnet. Did you try putting a magnet on that, Sean?
Yeah, it's magnetic. So yeah, it must be that straw finish.
Yeah.
So that was a new one on me. I'd never come across one that color before. This is very pedestrian until you see it's for a brace. It's the only time I've ever. There must be loads of them out there, but it's the only time I ever came across a Phillips head brace bit, which was kind of fun.
Yeah.
Don't see a weld or anything on it. It's not a self-made, user-made.
No, it's made by Stanley.
End to end, good.
Yeah, Stanley also has the flathead. They have a whole.
Flatheads are very easy to come by.
And Stanley has the adapters.
You're just going to have to trust me, but there's a Stanley mark and a model number and all the rest printed on that side.
Yes, it's part of their. They have 3 of them. they've got the Phillips head, they've got the flathead screwdriver, and then they've got the adapter where you can put hex drive into it that sits, it has the Jennings bit. Yeah, I mean, they're available.
I'll keep an eye out for one of those. These have been fascinating me this year. They're countersinks, but they've got this little rod to follow a pre-drilled hole.
Hollow mortise chisel sharpeners.
Yes.
Hollow mortise chisel sharpener.
Yeah. So machine chisels.
It's not, Andy, because I found the catalog where these were sold, and they were sold as countersinks.
Yep, and you had the hole of the screw, and they did based on the size of the screw.
And again, they're brace bits.
Yep.
Yeah.
But they're not a hollow. I found, what's the name? The make is on the side of one of them. But I found the catalog page that lists them, and they were sold as countersinks.
And
what I can't
still
get, and they're in, various different sizes. And what I can't understand is who needs to countersink that precisely, but is willing to do the job with a brace.
Boat builders. That would be my guess.
Why does a boat builder need to countersink that precisely?
Well, if you watch Leo Goulden rebuilding Tally Ho, I think you spot him using something pretty much like that to put a whacking great bronze screw through to hold something together, and then put a plug over the head.
These are boat builders' decking bits.
Yeah.
Which that's exactly what they're used for. They chase the screw hole to make a hole, a wooden plug to go in.
That would take a flat-headed bolt, wouldn't it? That would go.
They got used for nails. They got used for bolts. Basically,
flat rim.
Cut a nice big hole to make it easy to get a plug in.
The other one would suit something that had a big countersunk head screw.
Maybe
with a conical face.
I'm still annoyingly, the catalogs never said what they were for, or who might want them or anything else. So I'd love to find an account of it in use or something like that, but they're interesting.
Have you tried him?
No, I haven't.
I would suggest you try him, and you're going to love him.
One thing is, of course, they're only any good if you happen to have the one for precisely the size hole you want.
Oh, of course. Yeah. That's why you need a whole set. And then I have another. We saw the shell bits earlier. Somebody made a switchable countersink. You can attach any shell bit. Paul spotted this for me a while back.
Yeah.
Wow,
I've seen that in catalogs and never in real life.
Yeah, and again, you need to have one that's exactly the right size for your shell bit, because otherwise your shell bit won't be centered properly, and you will get an oval countersink on top of your circular hull.
And therein lies the need to have a whole set.
Exactly, they're devils. You think I could find the whole set? No, Paul spotted this. I can't think you spotted some like Facebook Marketplace or something at one point. I went, "Hey Sean, what's that?" I was like, "I don't know, but I'm buying it."
There's your little one.
I think it came with some other things, yeah.
Yeah, there was a few bits and pieces, but that was the only thing I wanted.
Actually, no, you spotted it and I got it.
That's right, you got it for me.
Because they wouldn't ship to you.
That's
Ireland?
right.
No, I'm not shipping to Ireland.
So this guy was reluctant to ship any further than the end of his street, but we got there. I'm really just showing off a bunch of oddities here. Not many of these are day-to-day users, especially this expansive bit.
Oh, cool.
Wow. What the?
So
that is an 1855 Gibbs patent expansive bit. That's the granddad of most of the expansive bits you see.
So
looks way more stable than modern expansive.
I think it sort of is, but I think the little screw is is quite fragile because once you put this out to quite a width, there's a lot of force, and that screw is acting as a pin to hold it all together. I don't think these would hold up well to continue use. I think if you and there's only one of the I don't really understand. I must go and reread the patent because I found the patent, but I don't know if these holes are anything other than decorative because they're not all tapped. They're just holes. Maybe you can put some reinforcing pins in or something.
Use a pin.
But this works really well.
You need to put a pin in for depth stop.
Well, that's another reason.
No, because Stephen said use the pin, and I'm just thinking.
The fact that you've got
this works just as well as a modern one. Like I sharpened it up and I got it going, and nothing wrong with it. It's great.
All of those holes are inside the sweep. So therefore, the hole that they're going into, they will not have any impact on the diameter of the hole. So you just have a set of pins that would fit through the aligned hole that locks you into that diameter.
Yeah, but this little screw here is in the one and only tapped hole.
Yeah, but that screw does not necessarily have to work. Doesn't have to work for all the others.
True. May I ask a short question? Doesn't the angle of the bottom piece change if you move, if you close it or open it? You know, the cutter. That's somewhat strange.
No, maybe ever so slightly, but like it works pretty much like a modern one in that respect. I guess it has to change ever so slightly because it's pivoting on the bottom.
So do you? But the pivot is fixed, or
I'm just going to double check.
Pivot is
screw, and we'll see. I am not losing the screw. Oh, stay.
Yeah, just don't put it on the floor.
It's all right. It's got the biggest magnet known to man behind him, so if it drops it, it'll find it.
There's the screw out. No, it's not a fixed pivot.
Okay.
Like you can see, I don't know, you probably can't tell,
Yeah.
but
So it moves up and down. Yeah.
Where these were centrally or laterally changed quite dramatically. Do I have a little mallet there or something? It's quite stiff.
I get it now. That's pretty smart.
So, as you can see,
yeah,
it doesn't have a lot of
moves up and down. Yeah,
you can pretty much put it where you like, which means yes, you can effectively change the angle, but not by a lot, not by very much at all. And then I have. We were talking about hole saws earlier. Hang on, well, that screw is going to sit there, right beside the bit. I bought this recently. This medieval-looking torture device.
Ah, yes, one of the Japanese ones.
Yeah, it's the Star circle cutter, and it's brilliant. Like you said earlier, I've been playing around with this design for a little pencil gauge, and I've got a wooden wheel in the middle. And I freehand made one, and I made one with a hole saw, and both times it was an awful lot of work, and I wasn't particularly pleased with the process, so I eventually decided to buy this thing. And it's weird in a few ways. One is, look at the bevels. When I took it out of the pocket, I went, oh, they put one of the blades in backwards. No, it's supposed to be that way. And if you look even closer, you will see that they're not the same distance from the central auger.
Right. One's lower than the other.
Exactly. And what happens is, it's really interesting to watch it work. It works almost like a cross-cut saw. If you look at this board here, you can see it. When it starts to cut, you get two separate rings. But as it descends and the bevels are moved more and more, you're left with a sort of a little triangular ridge in the middle. And as they go down, they cut out. That's like two test holes I did. This one, I just went straight through it at a backing board. And as you can see, I got a bit of tear out. This one I went in from both sides, and it's a very clean hole. And the little wooden discs that come out are also pretty neat. and pretty clean.
Boy, wheels.
Sorry?
Wheels.
Exactly. Well, I mean, like I said, they're going to be the little wheels that live inside of this.
Ah.
And there's a couple of really cool things about it. First of all, when I saw it, I assumed it was for use in a drill press. It's not. It's designed to go in a hand battery drill. And you can see that like that's a proper auger that actually works very well in the center with a little screw and everything else. If you try and use that in a drill press, the auger is going to suck the wood up off the bottom unless you've got to clamp down really hard. So they actually recommend against using it in a drill press. It's designed to go in a hand drill. And as a result, it's designed to operate at relatively low speeds. I chucked it in a brace, and when I used like the big 2-inch hole saw to try and cut out the older discs, that was a serious workout. That was like break out the Wimble brace time to really haul around on it. This is light work. You don't need to lean down, and you don't want to put heavy pressure. Actually, very light pressure works best. If you put heavy pressure down, the tips of those cutters will dig in and jam. You need to do it light. Very little effort, cuts very cleanly. There's a replacement. I have misplaced it at the moment, but there's a replacement for this part that that is more like a short birdcage awl. So if you want to do a thin piece, you don't have to worry about the auger snail splitting it apart. It can't go very deep, but it's for a thin piece, so what do you care? There's a little metric gauge on the bar. I don't know if I can get the light to pick it up properly. Yeah, there we are.
Yeah, you don't
There
want
we go. And if you set it to the appropriate measurement either side, it will be set right. To be honest, if you just eyeball it, you'll probably be fine. It doesn't require you to be particularly precise. I've yet to try it out, but they sell a bigger bar.
Wow.
Holy cow.
You can get like a foot wide hole with this thing. I haven't tried it yet.
You have to do it. You have to do it.
I will at some point. It's really awesome. I'm really happy with it.
But next time you need to make a composting toilet.
Yeah.
You should do it. You should do it tonight, Sean, and show us the result.
Save it. It's a whole evening's entertainment, I think.
Well, I don't think I have a foot wide board to do it through at the moment.
Wide board.
But yeah, if you're looking to make really big holes or you want really big discs, I really recommend this thing. It's not even very expensive. I think it was about €30.
Could you
and
put
it
that
works
the manufacturer's name in the chat?
It's Staran.
Yeah, put it in.
Yeah, I'll just stick it down here. Dieter Schmidt carries all the Staran stuff. So anything you mentioned in that respect, I would look there.
I'm in the United States, so I need to go here domestic first before I go to Dieter.
There's definitely a few retailers in the US. I know I've come across them.
Yes.
One I think
like Woodell, so wherever you buy Woodell, there's a chance you might find that.
Yeah. The last thing is that a handy little, well, not the last, second last thing, a handy little add-on for drill bits, which is a little bit level. You can probably see the bubble. So you mount it in this configuration, and you can actually, for about 2/3 of any given revolution, you can see where the bubble is, and you can see, are you drifting left or are you drifting right? It has 3 little grooves in the back. One for kind of a vertical drilling guide, one for drilling in horizontally, and one for 45-degree angles. And it's actually quite helpful, particularly if you're drilling a deep hole and you want to keep on top of it. It's much nicer than constantly moving your body and craning your head or setting up a mirror or anything else. So
drilling guide blocks.
Yeah, it's a Stanley 44. It's nice. It works and it does the job, and it makes those long straight holes much more pleasant. When I made that chisel holder in my little tool chest and I had to drill long deep holes for the chisel blades, that came in extremely handy. I was very glad of it. And then the last thing I was going to show is a little, well, I might show one more thing if I have a second, but this is a very modern sort of a bit, but for those of us who like restoring old tools and cleaning off the crud and everything else, these little guys are absolutely magnificent. It's basically a Scotch-Brite on a little bit. And the mauve Scotch-Brite, this color tends to leave a finish that's relatively close to the factory finish of most planes and everything else. Stick this in a power drill or a Dremel, and you will save yourself so much time. Like, you know, what would be an hour of scrubbing by hand would be 30 seconds inside of a high-speed drill. You can get it in all the different grits. I literally bought a big sack of them, coarse, medium, fine, extra fine. They're just magnificent for clearing rust and crud off of all the tools. It's very hard to get an even scratch pattern with them. You'll probably want to do a little bit of handwork at the very end just to give yourself an even finish. But they do a magnificent job.
The other thing which I would say is when they start wearing down, be careful, because
yes, you will run into the metal.
You can actually hit the metal.
It's not very hard metal. It probably won't do that much damage, but it's annoying.
Yeah.
The generic name for Scotch-Brite is non-woven abrasive. If you go on Amazon or the web and you look for non-woven abrasive, you will find these very quickly. They're cheap. They will save you hours. I love them to bits. The last one, let me just grab it very quickly. There's another star out of it to show you. Oh, I see it now. It's hiding under the long bar for the hole saw. While I have some very crappy pine I sometimes have to deal with, like this kind of stuff is just miserable. You can see that this end grain. It's just a joy to work with. Drilling clean holes in this stuff, and particularly for pilot holes and the like, is a nightmare. I bought a brand new set of fish brad bits, and they were no better than the cheap little Aldi bits I've been using. So at the same time as I bought the hole saw, I bought a selection of different bits of different designs, and these guys won. They are Star M again, Star M 601s. It's very hard to tell at this size. This is the smallest one they've got. It's a 3 mil. See if I can get this to focus at all for me on what I want it to focus on. Probably not gonna. That's about it. It has a full wing, like a tiny little auger. I don't know if you can make out the curve of it there as it goes round and round.
Yes.
So it's not just a little point. It's a full wing on a 3 millimeter bit. And they make another bit that's very similar to this, but it actually has a snail at that size. And they're a close second to these. But I found that the snail pulls the bit in too fast and the wings don't get enough time to do their job, whereas this one just has a traditional little point on it. And this was the only bit I had that in this hideously soft, shitty pine would still leave a perfectly clean hole each and every single time. Beat the living hell out of any other drill bit I've used. And this is at egg beater speeds. I wasn't using it in a power drill. So if you're stuck with something,
is that a hex head?
Yes, it is a hex head.
So that fits into that little brace that you bought from.
I don't like that brace for precision drilling. Unfortunately, this is the brace Stephen is talking about. Unfortunately, because it's got the quick change head,
yeah,
it necessarily has slop.
Oh,
so if you look at that, right, hold this as rigid as I can.
Between imperial and metric.
No, it's not that. It's I went reading on this extensively. You cannot have a quick change head like this that doesn't have some slop in it. Because if you make it absolutely slop free, you won't be able to get the bits in and out. There'll be nowhere left for them to slide. So it's just inherently an inferior drilling platform to your standard 3-jaw tighten it yourself drill.
Yeah. I suppose it would fit in the 3M miniature brace.
I didn't know 3M had a miniature brace.
Oh dear.
They do. I'm holding it up right now.
Where is he? Show me. Junkie.
Oh yes. I have
that would actually be a better brace for drilling. It really would.
It might. It comes so it comes with a set of straight and tapered.
Yeah. It's
I tell you, you know my disease. How come you have never shown this to me before?
That's why he's not showing you it, because he knows your disease.
That brace is not as solid as you think.
No,
it works. It works.
Yeah, and I would say it holds the bits
very. It does. But
But I mean, yeah, I mean, as a brace, it is this one sort of pivot, but you can hear the noise it makes.
Oh,
Okay, maybe not.
I believe I'm pretty certain I got this one from Dieter Schmidt.
So
I
this,
think
but the one Stephen is talking about, Stephen, say the company name out loud. My brain's going blank.
Bridge City.
Who makes this? Bridge City, yeah. It's wonderfully solid. It glides like a dream. It's very well made. I just think the quick change chuck is a fundamental design flaw. I like using this for like anything where I like using this as a screwdriver, basically. That's what I like using it for.
Yeah, that's
because
what I use it for. That's what I use it for mostly is screwdriving.
so it's like I think it's like a 2.5 inch sweep, is it? Yeah. Like it's the best screwdriving brace going, particularly for smaller screws. But as a drill, it's just second rate, unfortunately, because you've got that little bit of slop. So you know, it's always going to wallow out its hole at least a little bit.
I've got an Archimedes that I use for drilling small projects. And it's that one that it's the Maker Wattsoppel or something like that.
Holzapfel.
Oh, Holzapfel. Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's a hot sapple Archimedes drill with a handle. And that is the most stable for drilling really small holes. I'll trust those angel hair bits to it.
I will shut up and stop there, because I could go all night on drill bits and have done. So I'm going to be quiet.
Yes.
okay. Thank you very much, Sean. And next we will go to Gordon McCall.
All right, I just have one thing to show. This is obviously a handle auger, 1-inch bit with a snail.
That is beautiful.
Is it DR Barton?
No, it isn't. There's no name on the steel on this, so I have no idea. But there is a name on the handle, and it is. Get it to. You can probably see the letters. H.W. Chandler.
And have you found out who he was?
No idea. Might have been the owner.
Yeah, that looks more like an owner stamp.
Yeah, but I'm just thinking, Chandler. Is it a common name over in your area?
Well, a Chandler, a Chandler by trade is a manufacturer of lights.
Oh, interesting. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
But this thing was all loose and rattle packaged, and the bit was loose in the handle and all this stuff. So I went through and redid all of this. And the funny thing is this isn't, those rivets are not centered at all. You can see what this one is farther away from the bit than that one.
Yep.
And all that, but I just put it back together the way it was.
Might help from prevent it to split.
Yeah. It may have been done after the fact. This might be a repair, because that looks like a fellow plate from a wagon wheel. And these rivets in their location don't look right, but I blackened all the steel. This was all rust. It was ugly when I got it. I blackened all of this and redid the rivets and put it back together, and it actually works. It's rusted, but I did try to sharpen it a little bit.
So I'm figuring that was designed for softwoods, pine, fir.
Because of the coarse lead screw?
Yeah, the coarse lead screw tells you softwoods. A fine screw would be hardwoods.
Yeah, but could it also be for greenwoods.
Well, yeah, but in most cases, like if you're doing timber framing, sure, logs, but you're not building you're not using most of the time oak. The density is just too damn heavy. You're using cedar, spruce, fir, pine.
Uh-huh.
I mean, it's not to say you can't do oak, but oak's better for timber framing versus log construction. Because I've seen these things, I've seen these up to 6 feet long, the bits.
Yeah.
And it's for doing mine work when you're connecting multiple beams and you need to really reinforce it with steel or iron bolts.
You know, we have those in the length of 4, 5, 6, 7 meters for drilling. For spring water fountains out of logs.
Oh yeah, that's another good pipe making pipes.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you very much, John.
Thank you.
Moving on to Andy Brown.
Your expansive bit, Sean. I'll see yours and go miniature.
Ooh.
That's upside down.
I see something Sheffield, but it's upside down for me.
It is. Just bringing home. There you go.
What's the extra screw for up near the actual?
Eh?
I should just a pivot.
Is that the pivot? Right. Okay.
Yeah. No,
I can't make that out, Andy. Put me on my misery and tell me what it says.
It's Ibbotson.
Ah, nice.
Ibbotson. So Thomas Ibbotson, is it?
Yeah. Is it Thomas?
Or is it Richard?
I've already looked once. Thomas. So it's just the one screw, and you move this in and out.
Very nice.
It has a very, very delicate nicker. I dare say it's been coaxed into.
Not that different a design at all.
No. And the holes on yours, Sean.
Yeah.
Could it be that the position of the hole stops it from closing, and each position of the hole is a determined size of holes? Sorry, each hole through the frame actually gives you a certain size of cut.
It could be.
As you fold it in, those holes get closer and closer and closer to the edge.
Yep.
I have the actual patent for that bit bookmarked, and I read it when I got it, and now I've completely forgotten what the there is a reason for the holes. They're not just decorative, but I can't remember what it is. You're probably exactly what you're saying.
But then for so we got.
Okay.
Oh, that's a big one.
I forgot where this is now. CPT, and it's an 1.8 inch.
Still going. Still going. Still going. And there's more.
Oh, I've got my safety cap on. Sorry. And yours is, Gordon, yours is sharpened just with the flats. But this one, they've undercut to give you spurs. Oh, sorry.
I might have had spurs in the past. Maybe they've been ground off or whatever.
Yeah. But that's...
What length is that, Andy? 3 foot?
Chin to Actually, hang on, I've got a bloody tape measure here.
I was going to say, that's like the measurement of a stretched cat.
3 foot and a diddly. So I think this is mining again, something like that. So that's that one. I cannot find the box with my 3 1/4 inch brace picking. Now, and that's not an expansive bit. That's a 3 1/4 inch brace bit. Well, it's not a brace, actually. It's a machine for a bit. But you'll have to wait on that. One day I shall come across it again. Now, I don't know if you've got any of these, Sean. I hope you have, because...
Oh.
Not exactly. I actually have a short version of that, a 2 1/4 inch one on its way to me in the post.
Right.
So is that the footprint? That looks like is that like the footprint one?
I don't really know what they are or what they're for specifically.
They're wagon bits. Wagon builders bits. So that's the odd man out, because you can see he's got a bit more of a twist to it.
Oh, yeah, it's got a different.
That one is William Ridgway. That one. And these two are, well, these, you'll see this dead easy, he says.
Sorby, yeah, nice.
Oh,
what would a wagon builder use this for?
Axle holes?
Axle,
bolt up, no.
Axles are tapered.
Yeah, yeah. Wait, keep the powder dry. Yeah, countersinking bolt holes.
Ah.
You know, things like that. So there's a couple of them. Which
it's got the one for the axle, hasn't it?
That's and then Anton, I'll see your, I forgot what you called it, but I'll go just a bit older.
Oh yes, beautiful. Oh, that's really really old. With the square nuts and all, beautiful.
Yeah, that L-shaped handle.
Is there a make?
No, oh crikey, no. There is a problem with this. I am assuming there should be a pivot point into this here from this, but unfortunately,
yeah,
that's gone, and you can't take this to pieces now. When it was first made, I believe you could, but this has been strengthened with a riveted crosspiece through there, so you can't actually take this to pieces anymore. This is old. I mean, just look at the little bit of decoration around that. It's not got the right wing nut in it, but I can forgive it that. But no, that was, believe it or not, in a box of bits in the Stanley auction, and nobody picked up on it because it didn't go very expensive at all.
Beautiful.
Absolutely, that's one of my grab box displays.
How old do you think that is?
Oh, I don't know. It's 1700s. Before that, I don't know. No, I'm only guessing. But it needs. What I've been trying to do is find some references to vintage and ancient hand drills, and nothing comes up anything close to it. So, but yeah, it's got that.
Sounds like you need to write that book.
Oh crikey! Now, bear with me on this one, because we're going somewhere. So, come the day you need to drill out that bolt, you need one of these. which generally come in nice little sets like this. If I could get the bugger open, it would. Come on. I did drop this on the floor earlier. I wonder if I bust it. There it is. So let's do it that way so they don't all fall out. Oh, that was a fail. So now I'm too short of the set. So they're stud extractors. So when you've got something, a bolt broken off in a hole, you drill a hole in the bolt and then you screw these in, and they're left hand threaded. You put them in anti-clockwise. It locks into the hole and pulls the thread, the broken stud out.
Have you used them?
Have I used them? I do believe back in the day I did use one once. It wouldn't have been this set. It would have been because I don't think I'd got them then. But they are exceptionally efficient. They do a really good job.
I've used them a lot, and they have saved my life more than once.
Yeah.
And they
Yeah.
work good for broken pipes too. You've got an internal pipe, you can pound one of those in there and thread it right out.
I've just realised that the plastic, mouldy plastic, actually doesn't allow them to slide out the bottom. But now that's, if you've got a chunky bolt like that and you need to extract it, you need a chunky extractor. But what happens if you want to extract a really big bolt? You need to bring in the boys.
Lord, lovely.
Wow.
There's your reference. That's the size of the drill you need to drill in your bolt to use that.
Ooh.
So these, this is the big boy. These are dormer. Sorry, Morse. They're dormer. And this was really nice find to actually find it in the actual pack.
So would you use an adjustable spanner to attach to the back of that to extract?
Yeah, you can do. Yeah. Adjustable spanners suit you to the ground, really. But think about this: how the hell have you broken the bolt off on that? But secondly, how are you going to get in to drill a hole if it's inside a machine or somewhere? You can't just take the item out and put it on your drill press. You need a drill that you can get in there and drill the hole with. Well,
so you have the drills.
So what you need is a drill bit, but you still got to go in a machine. Not if it goes in your brace, it don't. So that's 1 inch and 3/16 drill bit for your brace.
You're going to need a really good sweep on that brace.
You need an apprentice.
No, what you actually need is a chain drill that as you wind it in, you tighten up the chain and it pulls it in. So you're not actually putting pressure on by hand. It's a mechanical application.
Oh,
but, go on, say it again, Andy. You audio.
It's not quite.
Yeah, your audio's dropped out, Andy. You're there, but change the position of your head compared to your device.
You've got a handle, so you can turn it by hand.
Something you can turn by hand on. Sorry,
It's
that's
quite
it.
a large drill bit. There you go.
Oh, hang on. If you're showing me something, I need to.
and you can just
Oh, you're at the bottom there.
just twiddle it round in your fingers.
Yeah.
If you've got enough strength in your fingers.
Yes. Yes. But
that's Morse. It's got the original 1863 patent date on it.
Right.
Your actual Morse drill.
Yeah.
I've used it once.
Yeah. That was enough, he says.
Yep.
But
you carry on.
Yeah, cheers, Andy. So
Andy, that's the contraption you're talking about, right?
Oh, can't see, sorry. Yeah.
So as this rotates, it'll start twisting the chain around. You loop the chain around the bottom of what you're drilling into, and that will provide all the downward pressure you need to dig in.
Yeah. Yeah.
So we'll get short. Basically, the twisting motion will twist the chain and pull this down in hard. And the other end, you got your little brace attachment.
Oh my goodness me.
That's what that's for. Very handy for drilling into pipe as well, because it'll keep it in contact and stop it from slipping off.
Yeah. Yeah. And from the sublime to the ridiculous.
Hang on. Hold it there, Andy. Okay, you're back on.
Got this one.
Oh my God, that's pretty. The model maker's dream.
Yeah, we all send around.
Is that for watchmaking?
It could quite likely have been. I mean, these cogs are watchmaking, are parts of a watch or a clock, I dare say, and somebody's mackled this up to do a little job. Unfortunately, the bit there is broken, but well, what the heck? I mean, when I seen it last year, I thought, I've got to have that.
Just resharpen it.
Yeah, it could be. Yeah, there is some writing on the side of this brass piece here where this has been soldered together, which I don't think it's anything to do with its originality. I think it's just a part of something else that's been used. But interestingly, how he's done it is the hole for the drill bit is off center to the rest of the body, because that way you can have the pinion. It's very difficult to see it. The pinion is right close to this side.
Oh, yes.
So this side here, which allows just the tip of them teeth to engage.
It looks ever so slightly like a miniature Vickers machine gun.
Yes, it does. Yeah. So that was a lovely little find last year. A lady was demonstrating a surgical field hospital, and she'd got quite a display of apparatus, and this was sitting in this nice little chrome box, and we got talking, and I hadn't noticed it, and she says, "Oh yeah," she says, "I've been collecting for years," she says, "and this is what started it off," and she picked this up, and I thought, oh, I like that. And she says, well, if you like it that much, I'm prepared to part with this, she says, because it's not really a medical tool. It was sold as a medical drill, but it's not. It's just, if it was medical, it wouldn't be so rustic.
If it's stainless steel.
Yeah. So for a short wad of notes, we did a deal. So
early dentist drill.
Yeah.
So
and again, Andy, it's odd, Andy, when you held up something to the brace bits to your microphone earlier, it was cutting away your audio, and then when you moved the brace box, your audio came.
Sorry, somebody else's laptop. Sorry.
Yeah.
When you said all right there, you came through crystal clear.
Yeah.
I don't know what to do. It's time I went. Good night, everybody.
Oh, we got good night.
Good night.
Good night, Andy.
And you've got even better now. Cheers, Andy. Anyway, good to see you. So yeah, I don't know whether you've seen this one, Sean.
Oh, it's a smaller version of the same thing I had.
Yeah. Now that is only about 1/8 of an inch hole.
Teeny little one. Yeah.
I'm trying to get my light to go through it, but it
Is
won't.
there a maker name on it?
Do you know, I've looked under the glass. I was, funnily enough, I was looking at this at the weekend, and then you popped up with that one. There's a
This
little bit
one
of
is Broughton, Broughton,
right
in the middle of one side.
Yeah,
Yeah, we actually found it, didn't we?
Yeah, if you take I've got like the catalog entry.
Yeah, but so you've got it on a shell bit. Now I know you can get very small shell bit.
I've got some that size.
Yeah, yeah. So we'll put it down as that then. Yeah.
I found I would have to dig it out now, but I found a catalog page for those, and that's what they were. It was a countersink for a shell bit.
Yeah, I'd be interested to see the catalog entry for those countersink bits you've got.
I can find that for you.
Yeah, but and while I've got on that shelf, I'll just pick this up and show you this, because if you're going to have a countersink, these are highly recommended.
I was just searching for you.
Sorry.
Which ones are that?
Let me look.
So these are the ones with the point on the end. They make them now, but for some reason, they've taken the points off and they're flat ground on the end. Now, this is not. My daily user is an 1/2 inch diameter one of these, and it's quite simple. You just put that straight into the hole in the wood, and you keep going, and it leaves a 1/2 inch plug hole. I use a plug cutter for making 1/2 inch plugs. Goes straight in.
Nice.
But these take no prisoners. They're designed for steel. In fact, I think that one's Dormer, is it?
I'm gonna see if I have what I like at the moment. Do I have one of them handy here? Maybe, maybe not.
What brand is that, Andy?
It is a Dormer.
Right.
It's a 20mm 90-degree HSS.
Yeah.
I found myself insanely fond of these guys.
You're making me work tonight, Sean.
They are the clean. These are the cleanest cutting ones I've ever found.
So they're the snail ones. Do they call them the snail?
Yeah.
I have a set of 4. This was a cheap set. They were not a name brand or anything else.
Yeah.
They will work on metal. I actually used them on my little miniature tool chest. Because the hinges aren't being used the way they're intended, I used this to countersink the metal hinges. And again, worked perfectly. But once you've used them on metal for a little while, they're no longer as clean in wood.
Nah.
But you can get them very widely, very cheaply. In wood, they appear to last forever. Like, I've yet to have one go dull on me. And again, that crappy pine, this is the only countersink bit I have that will leave a countersink in that terrible shite. So I'm really fond of these now.
But I do a lot of my work. I plug. I do use filler now and again, but it's expensive. But plugs, I just knock up a plug cutter with my Makita drill, because they say you shouldn't use them in a handheld device, but if you get the knack, you can do it. It goes wrong, and if you get it wrong, it goes seriously wrong. So you don't keep your pinkies anywhere near it while you're doing it. But yes, yeah, that'll do until I find that big bit. I'm a bit miffed with that because I've gone through about 15 boxes and they weren't light, and I couldn't find it. And I've seen it very recently, and that's bemusing me. But anyway, yeah, enough of my troubles.
Okay, thank you very much, Andy. And bearing in mind it's now 22:11, we've overrun a little bit, to say the least.
Sorry.
Well, just to remove the spotlight from you. Where is Andy? Oh,
You're spotlighted now.
I'm spotlighted. Well, that's fine. Okay. So, raise a toast to absent friends on the bench.
Absent friends on the bench.
On the bench.